Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Sorry about that. We had a bit of some technical difficulty. Sorry about that. Had to restart my computer. And so, yeah, so we're back. Thank you. Sorry about that issue. So today we are talking about when to say yes or when to say no. And so basically, this week is all about me sharing experiences from this recent project that I've been working on. We had a um, Christian theater production, All Counsel and Wise, which was performed this past Saturday. And so I'm going through this week and getting some rest and kind of doing some after action and writing down what I've learned. And so I want to share some experiences and things that I've learned through this process. And today we're talking about when to say yes and when to say no. And so in all things in life, we need to have wisdom about them. And when we pray and we speak with God, God will help us understand what's going on in different situations and give us the wisdom to make the right decisions and put sound counsel in our path so that they can help us, because the Bible tells us that we should seek wise counsel. And one of the things that I did during this project right in the beginning is I reached out to a pastor who I knew just had tons of experience in mentoring folks and just full of wisdom, and that I respected and that I believe God would speak through. And so we sat down, we talked about this project, and he helped me along the way. And one of the things that I valued about it was that his phone was always available. His ear was always available to talk. And so in the beginning, it was about seeking wise counsel, moving forward in what I was doing. And so what I want to talk to you today about saying yes and saying no. When we have a vision that God has placed in our spirit, which we talk about all the time here, it is imperative that we are moving towards that vision, and that we are clear with God on what that vision and what exactly that direction is, because what it will do for us is it will make our decisions easier to make, because things will line up with our vision or they will not line up with our vision. So knowing what exactly our vision is and what the direction God has for our life is going to make a huge difference. So a couple things here. First of all is that we need to know who God places people in our lives. Some people are going to be there walking with you, and some people are not. Some people are just designed for a season. A I heard a sermon many, many years ago by Pastor Robert Payne, and he talked about the space shuttle having rocket boosters, and those rocket boosters were only designed to take the space shuttle to a certain point, and then they had to drop off. And I always remembered that, always kept that with me, because as you go higher and God takes you higher, not everyone is designed to go with you. And so God will reveal to you who it is that is supposed to go with you and who is just there for that particular season. And so sometimes in saying yes and saying no, sometimes you have to say yes to, okay, this person is designed to go with me for the long haul, or no, they're not, or yes, they are just here for this season. So let's work together, let's do things together. But then, for the long distance, that God has not ordained that particular person in your life. And that's okay, because in our lives we meet people, they come in and out of our lives all the time. So we need to be mindful of that, and that is going to help us with our yeses and with our nos. And so the next thing is this, is that I know that through this experience, there are some things that I said yes to that I should have said no to, and other things that I should have said no to that I said yes to. And one of the examples is this. So that I should have said no to is, so in theater, there's two different types of flats that you can make. Flats are basically the basic walls that are your backdrop. And so there's Hollywood flats and there are theater flats. And the difference is basically how the wood framing is done in the back. Well, someone advised me to do the theater style flats, which are when the boards basically lay down against the backdrop. And so we did them that way. And then afterwards, when we tried to put everything together, it wasn't as stable. So the end result, or the lesson that we learned, is we had to cut all of those frames out and redo them. And so ultimately we had to change them into Hollywood flats, which ultimately provided with a more sound structure. So this was a situation where I said yes and I should have said no. And in the beginning, when I was making this decision, there was something in my gut that was just saying, you know what, you should make them this one certain way. And I didn't. So I believe that was, that gut feeling. That was God, the Holy Spirit saying, hey, you need to make them this particular way and not the other way. And so that was one example. And so another example was some no's that should or maybe could have been yeses, as that we were looking at radio advertising. And so we ultimately said no. And it was more about price and the cost. But maybe that's something that in the future we'll go back and say yes to. But it's all about learning experience. You have to know when to say yes, know when to say no. And so that was just an example of each thing. And, as I talked about, as we move forward in life and this vision, it is not everyone can see the vision that God has given you. And sometimes you can't, let's see, how can you can't get people excited for your vision. Everybody has their own vision. And so, finding those people that come alongside you and see your vision and they're excited about it and they're dedicated and they want to work hard in achieving this, that's rare. It's very rare, because it's not often that folks will come alongside and say, hey, how can I help you? Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but you have to be mindful of that. Not everybody's going to fall in line and be as excited and committed to your vision as you are. So when you're up late working at night and you're working hard on your vision, on your goals, don't expect that everybody is going to be available to help you or to want to support that. That's not always the case. Sometimes people will have their small roles that they play, and then hopefully you have people in your life that come in bigger roles. I know, as we worked through this project, there were some things that happened unexpectedly, especially the last night. The last night when we had the performance at the end, we had a couple people that said they would come and help us tear down things, and then unexpectedly we had a few more people showed up. So that was just a blessing that they saw the vision and they wanted to help any way possible. And so that is amazing when that happens. So not everyone can see the bigger picture. And so with that, sometimes when you have small-minded thinking inside of your big vision camp, it can be a distraction, it can be a hindrance, it can be a stumbling block. But what I want to encourage you to do is that you have to recognize that, many things could be going on. People have so many things going on in their life. People could have a bad day or something like that. But, just if people want to offer to help, I would say that as long as it doesn't derail you or distract you from where your vision is, to allow them to help. Because you know what, during the process, God may be moving in your life to affect their life. And so you being an influence in their life, just by them being in the environment. I've seen that before, where people just need to be in the room. I say that all the time for myself, is that I don't need to sit at the big table. Sometimes I just need to be in the room just to hear the conversation. So sometimes people just need to be in the room. They need to just hear the conversation. And in this particular case, I would say that there were people that needed to be in the room when we were doing this project, because God may have put something on their heart, in their spirit, for them to do. And they might not know that they can, but just being inspired by what is going on, to take something from a blank sheet of paper to this production, may be the jump start that they need to help them in their own lives. Let's see, what else we got here today. Also, sometimes your circle needs to be small. If we think about it, that Jesus just had a handful of faithful followers. And so in our lives, sometimes we just need a small circle of dedicated friends, rather than a large circle of just acquaintances. And one of my friends said this, that they would rather have 4 quarters than 10 dimes or 100 pennies. And what they were in essence saying is they would rather have 4 friends who were worth a quarter versus having 10 friends who were only worth a dime, or 100 friends that were only worth a penny. And so I heard that a couple months ago, and it stuck to me because I just like the way that flows. You rather have a couple quality friends than a lot of just acquaintances, we'll call them. And so in saying yes and saying no, just be in line with what God has for your life, and make sure that you're always in prayer to God and seeking wise counsel in all your decisions. That way you can make the right decision, because sometimes making the wrong decision can be detrimental to the vision that God has for your life, the direction, the path that you're going, and it can be stumbling blocks to getting you where you need to go. And in all experiences, good or bad, make sure that you're learning, make sure that you're growing. And so, once again, just talked about when to say yes, when to say no. It's all about being in line with God's perfect will. So, once again, thank you all so much for watching today. I pray that you all are having a blessed week. God willing, we will see you back here again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., hopefully with no technical issues. But thank you for watching. Take care. Talk to you soon. God bless.